Okay, we've got one more session before we go to lunch. I'm going to give you a couple quick instructions before we go to lunch as well, just so you have an idea of what's coming up in the afternoon. Of course, you've also got Excel events, so you can check the app for all the times and everything coming through there. So up next, we have the CEO of FBS, creators of FlexMLS, and our vice chair of our board of directors, Michael Wurzer, to talk about media update. Michael.
Okay, so I'm here to pitch you on a standard, not on a product. My name is Mike Wurzer. I'm the FBS CEO. Been the vice chair, been around RESO for a long time. We're going to talk a little bit about making the case for upload of photos in the standard. So we've been talking about update for a long time as a community. It's moving along, and there's certainly, Olga was talking earlier a little bit about that. Some things are happening. But we all know that update on listings and the entire data set is a big, big job. And so what I've been advocating at the board level, and now I'm trying to get to the work group level, just for a few minutes here, is to make the case why you should just focus on media at the beginning and really nail that use case. And I think it's important for our business partners in the ecosystem as a whole for these reasons. Media is a huge part of what MLSs do today. And I think that the opportunity for MLSs to capture that media and make the most in delivering it to the market is critical with regard to having an update mechanism for third parties to send that data in. So why is it important from the business perspective? Reduce the amount of time that people are spending with that, because they can streamline the workflows. You think about it, most listings today are being updated or being photographed by professionals. It's not always the case, but in a lot of cases that's happening, and it's happening at an increasing rate. Those professionals should have systems where they can automate the uploading of that directly to the MLS. They're already doing a lot of work with that media beforehand to get it to the agent. Then the agent has to get it to somebody on their team or themselves and somehow upload it into the MLS. And there's a lot of process there that could all be automated to simplify that, reducing the time, reducing the errors for everybody. Also, with regard to IP rights, we know that when the data is ingested, when photos or media, videos, et cetera, are updated in the MLS, there is some sort of IP trail for that to say who owns it, what are the rights that are had, but it's not a very standardized process today. And so inside the MLS system, do you have a clear trail for that intellectual property rights in the system? It was talked a little bit earlier about private media, for example, and the need to reduce the amount of media being deleted from the MLS system. A lot of that is because the IP trail is not clear, so you can make that case with an upload or update media standard. And then we've got what we've all seen happening with the ability to process and extract data from the media. And what's interesting about that in terms of the workflow is when you don't have the media until at the end of the listing process, which is very common because the listing gets entered and then the media gets added right before it's published, you don't have the ability to auto-populate data from that media that you're extracting with AI or machine learning. You need that media at the very beginning of the process. So changing those workflows will really be important to streamlining the entire process, and that's where an update standard would really help people. There are lots of systems today that have APIs for uploading or updating media in the MLS system, but they're all proprietary today because we don't yet have a standard. So I want to make the technical case a little bit as well. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, update an entire listing record is a very complicated situation because of the local differences and because of all of the local rules that exist. It's going to be achieved. We're going to standardize those processes, and that's great. But we can get a lot done right now with media because it is already a much more standardized set of data. And so I think if we can focus on that, that one use case will drive the business value, and we'll be able to lay a lot of foundation around how do MLSs approve who can upload or who can use these update resources? That's a whole new thing and requires a level of understanding, testing, quality assurance, and other things around approving such a vendor. It's a very different thing than approving somebody to receive the data is approving the writing of the data. So that permissions and the authentication and building that whole process at the MLS level, at the vendor level, can be done with this use case that's much simpler if you think about all of what's got to happen in order for a full update standard to take place. Media is just one part of it. So my pitch to you is really that this business case, it's there right now, right in front of us. We know how important media is: photos, videos, virtual tours, floor plans, all of it. We know getting the intellectual property rights clear in the MLS system is super, super important. And we know that this is a much narrower use case that's more easily standardized than all of the rest of the data. So that's my pitch to you. Cody Gustafson, one of the lead API engineer for FBS, has written a draft proposal that's on GitHub for those in the transport work group. You can see that online. He'll be sharing that with everybody. We hope you read that. For those on the transport work group session later today, we hope you all get an opportunity to think about that and start discussing it, because I think this is something we can move real quickly on as a community and deliver real business value and technical value to everyone. And maybe by the next conference, we'll have that published and we'll have some actual implementations for everybody to see. So thank you very much. Have a great lunch and enjoy the rest of the conference.